your vote. Newswatch 16's live election night coverage.
Good evening, I'm Scott Schaefer.
And I am Lisa Washington. It is 8 o'clock and the polls have just closed around northeastern and central Pennsylvania, because of this primary election day, and lots to get to. We, of course, here to be with our team once again to bring you the results and analysis as it comes in.
Corey O'Brien is our election analyst, the former Lackawanna County Commissioner, a Democrat, and has been with us for a few years now. Great to have you back.
Thanks, Scott.
What are you looking for tonight?
Well, I think it's going to be an exciting night. There are new, fresh faces with fresh visions, but there's also incumbents who've been around for a while. So it's going to be interesting to see that mix as the night unfolds, to see whether those incumbents remain in power or those fresh faces, fresh ideas take hold.
On the big board for us tonight, Newswatch 16's Stacey Lang. Stacey, welcome.
Glad to be here. Glad to be part of the team. I'm right here on our touchscreen, our election result computer, where we're keeping track of the statewide races. These numbers provided to us by the Associated Press. So we're keeping an eye on judges' races for Supreme Court, Superior Court, Commonwealth Court, as well as a special election that's being covered by our Nikki Kreis tonight in Montour in Northumberland counties.
All right, Stacey, we'll be hearing a lot from you. We'd love to start getting to our election results and analysis. But we already have breaking news going on tonight at 8:01. Has there been another Election Day snafu in Luzerne County? Newswatch 16's Chelsea Strube is live for us tonight with that. What can you tell us, Chelsea?
Good evening, Scott. Hi, Corey and Lisa, too. I'm outside the Elections Bureau here in Wilkes-Barre. You can see behind me the sheriff is here, and we have cones set up. They're ready to bring in those ballots from all of the polling places throughout the county. Now, as you guys remember, last election day in November, voters used ballot marking devices to cast their ballots, which is a giant monitor like a large iPad where people fill out their ballots by touching the screen, and the ballot prints out on a piece of paper, and that piece of paper is put in a scanner machine. Now, in November, those printers ran out of paper. So this election season, this time around, the elections office decided to use paper ballots for the voters, where people fill out their ballot by hand and then scan those paper ballots that they filled out by hand in the same scanning machines. Now, one polling place in Hunlock Creek this afternoon ran out of those paper ballots that voters fill out by hand for a period of time, and this is what the elections director had to say about it.
They had an extremely high turnout for this municipal primary because when we do paper ballots per the state Department of State guidelines, we take the last 3 municipal primary turnouts and we use that to determine how many ballots to send to each precinct, and we sent them even more than the recommended amount, and they still were short, and they just had a really high turnout in that area.
So a lot of people are saying, like, how on earth could we run out of paper again?
Well, we didn't run out of paper because they still had the ballot marking device to use as well. So no voter was denied the right to vote or turned away.
They just had to wait longer if they had to use the ballot marking device.
Correct. They would have just had to use that. And then, like I said, we sent out a rover and he had more paper ballots. So it all worked out.
Elections Director Aaron Harvey tells me there is a paper ballot inside this elections office for every registered voter in Luzerne County, but they do not send all of those ballots out to the polling places initially, because if they aren't expecting that many voters to turn out, that would create a lot of work on the back end following an election, where election workers would have to log and account for every single one of those ballots. So what happened was the average of the last 3 municipal elections did not add up to the amount of voters that came out to that polling place today. Now, she said everywhere else in the county, turnout was low. Chelsea Strube, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Wilkes-Barre.
Well, thank you for the explainer, Chelsea. Good stuff.
But here's my thing, right? We know the problem that they had given the paper. You send more than enough, just in case, just because it's insurance, in case every registered voter who goes to that precinct decides to show up based on what has happened historically, just because you don't want a repeat of what happened before. That's my opinion. That's just my thought.
The egg on the face element to the whole thing is just hard to explain.
I thought Chelsea, number one, did a great job in summarizing what is a fairly complicated process there. Right. But at the end of the day, Lisa, it's paper. You either have enough or you don't. And I heard Aaron Harvey this morning to one of our reporters talking about this situation. We have enough paper this time around.
Yes.
Well, evidently they still don't. It's silly. It's a disaster. It's something that should be easily avoided.
Right.
And,
we shouldn't be talking about that tonight, given what has happened last year.
You got it.
And we went up through pretty much the entire election day without talking about it, and just right at the end, and Luzerne County rises to the surface one more time. All right, it is a primary day. Typically, independent and third-party voters cannot take part in primary elections here in Pennsylvania. I know, I am an independent. This year, there is one race that everyone could vote in, a special election to choose the next state representative in the 108th district in central Pennsylvania.
You've heard this name before. Linda Schlegel Culver was elected to the state senate earlier this year in another special election, and there are 3 hopefuls on the ballot today who are looking to replace her. And of course, there is the Republican, there is a Democrat, and there's a Libertarian. So that's why independents can vote in this one.
That's right, and the winner of this, there is no November election. The winner of this race tonight will be, in fact, the state representative-elect until he or she is sworn in this case, all he's. Let's take a look if we have the board of the 3 candidates. It's Trevor Finn, who is the Montour County Commissioner. Yes, he's also on the ballot for re-election in Montour County. You have Michael Stender. He's a Schuylkill School Board member. He's a full-time firefighter in the city of Harrisburg, coincidentally. And Elijah Stretching is the Libertarian. He is a retired Marine, and he is launching the Libertarian bid here against all odds. But we have been making much hay of this throughout the last couple of days before the election, that when you look it up, the 108th district has been in Republican hands since before Watergate.
Okay, that's a long time. Yes.
So, I mean, statewide, this is an important election because the Democrats in Pennsylvania have a 1-seat majority in the State House of Representatives. There are 2 special elections today, this one and one in suburban Philadelphia in Delaware County. Now, if the Republicans would sweep both, then they would have a 1-seat advantage. You have to think they're a heavy favorite to win this one tonight.
I think this one tonight is a Republican district. I'm not so sure the other one's going to go Republican. We'll see about that. I think we're probably going to see a House that remains on the Democratic side with respect to the 1-seat margin, but this is a Republican district. Like you said, 1972, the Republicans have held this. I anticipate we'll see that same outcome tonight.
Our Nikki Kreis has been covering this race, and she joins us live tonight to tell us about what we are going to see coming up throughout the evening.
Right, we're going to check in with Nikki momentarily. First, though, we're going to get to our Chris Keating, who is covering the judges race in Lycoming County. There are a number of judges running for that, 3 of them, in fact. I think we have Chris now, is that right?
Yes, we're outside the Lycoming County Courthouse in Williamsport, where 2 seats for county judge are up for grabs. Now, last year, judges Mark Lavecchio and Joy McCoy retired after more than a decade of service each. But as we wait for results to come in tonight, let me introduce you to the 3 candidates who have cross-filed as Republicans and Democrats for this year's primary. First up, we have Judge William Carlucci, who is a lifetime attorney who was appointed as county judge last year to fill the void after the others retired. He is now running for a full 10-year term. Next, we have Andrea Polizzi. She has 19 years of experience as a local defense and civil law attorney. And finally, Ryan Gardner is the current Lycoming County DA, and he is looking to trade in that briefcase for the gavel. Now, pending results, there is a chance that all 3 candidates could end up on the ballot in November. Chris Keating, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Lycoming County.
2 seats open in Lycoming County, so that's always a big year when there's more than one judicial seat open at one time. All right, Chris, we'll be talking to you tonight. There is a pretty big race for judge in Schuylkill County as well. 2 men on the ticket. Both have cross-filed, Democrat and Republican. There's 1 seat open. Our Claire Alfrey is covering the Schuylkill County judge race, and she joins us now with more on that. Hi, Claire.
Good evening, Scott. We are here in St. Clair at the Fish and Game Hall waiting for supporters of Michael Pake to join him here after working the polls all day. Him and Bill Burke are right now going for a seat on the Court of Common Pleas here in Schuylkill County, a race that voters in Schuylkill County predict will be very close. What makes this election unique is that both candidates have decided to cross-file, meaning both candidates appeared on the Democrat and Republican ballots. That means if one one candidate wins both the Republican and Democratic vote, there will be no election in November. Today, both candidates were working the polls, talking to residents all throughout Schuylkill County before they casted their votes. Both O'Paik and Burke have decades of serving the courthouse here in Schuylkill County, and we will bring you updates with results throughout the night. Claire Alfrey, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Schuylkill County.
All right, Claire, thank you so much for that live report. And we should mention it's really not very odd that candidates cross-file. It seems to happen more often than not. You want to cross-file so that you have that opportunity.
And this is a classic case where we really could see a rematch of these two again in the fall. O'Paik is a Democrat as district attorney. Burke is just an attorney, doesn't have a public office. But when Judge Baldwin retired, State Senator Dave Argall recommended that Burke be appointed judge in Schuylkill County. Now, Governor Wolf at the time just kind of ignored that recommendation and left the seat open, and now we get to an open seat for an election. But you have to think that Republicans know that in Schuylkill County, and they're going to come out strongly for Burke. And I could see very clearly see a scenario where these two run again against each other in the fall. O'Paik as the Democrat and Burke as the Republican.
It's going to be very interesting with a district attorney that is, an incumbent in this race, not really this race, but a DA, tough to beat Michael O'Paik. But I think you might be onto something with respect to a split in the ticket here. Burke certainly has Republican support and O'Paik has Democratic support. The question really is whether O'Paik can take away some of that Republican support. Just as a district attorney, typically tough on crime, Republicans like that. Right. Do you get enough Republicans to join with you to just win this thing outright? But Lisa, like you said, cross-filing, it's magic, right? I mean, if you can do that and win both, you got an easy fall. I never had such a thing. So it was always a difficult race every single time I ran for office. But I'll tell you right now that I think you can see that matchup kind of play out maybe in the fall, but O'Paik is thinking tonight, let me see if I can close this out.
Yeah, O'Paik certainly has the name recognition that will come in handy in a primary with low voter turnout, which is what we're hearing pretty much across the board, except for one precinct in Luzerne County.
Right, so there's that. But something else we should mention in this race, though, the President Judge William Baldwin, he retired in late 2021. These seats stay open for a while, it seems like. Why does it take Pennsylvania so long to get people in these positions?
Well, I mean, think of Governor Wolf. What does he want to do here? Does he want to get in the middle of this and make this a big issue and take sides and create enemies and all that kind of stuff? No. I mean, he's happy to sit back, let this play out, find some senior judges around the Commonwealth to come in and fill the position, wait for an election and just have the election happen. And that's what we're seeing tonight. Democracy at its best.
And it gives us something to talk about.
It does.
We're going to take our first break here on WNEP2, but our election night coverage just revving up. We'll start to see those results rolling in. We hope shortly, fingers crossed, but we have a lot to talk about. Judges first, a lot of commissioner races going on tonight as well, and some of them are fascinating. Trust me, I know. Stay with us here on The Deuce.
Shoot, packed it myself.
Certain it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters, like the certainty of congratulating coworkers or saying thank you for being a customer with promotional products from 4imprint. Our expert team is dedicated to making your satisfaction a certainty.
Packed it myself.
Land the perfect products at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
We need some help.
I know. I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. And if approved, we can have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Oh, how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk. but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
25 words or less.
First name Urkel.
Oh, Steve. It's all fun and games.
Beauty Mark.
Mole.
Yes! That's the money, y'all!
5 days a week.
Weekday mornings on W.
Primary election day in Pennsylvania. The polls have been closed now for 15 minutes. Lisa Washington along with Scott Schaefer, political analyst Corey O'Brien, and of course our Stacey Lang here as well as we get some results in on our statewide races. But right now we want to talk about a special election that is happening today. This is of course the 108th seat here. Our Nikki Kreis is covering this story for us. She is live. Nikki, tell us where you are today. Where are you?
Well, Lisa, we are here at the America's Hose Company in Sunbury, where supporters of Republican candidate Michael Stender are gathered to watch the results come in. Now, 3 candidates are hoping to win that seat, the 108th district. Republican Michael Stender is a Sunbury resident who is also on the Shikellamy School Board. Democrat Trevor Finn lives in Danville and has been a Montour County commissioner for nearly 20 years. Libertarian Elijah Scretching is a former Marine who lives in Northumberland. Republican Linda Schlegel-Culver previously held this seat for more than a decade. The 108th district includes all of Montour County and parts of Northumberland County. We spoke with election officials in both of those counties, and they tell us voter turnout was low today. Northumberland County's results are expected to be in tonight for this special election, but Montour County does not count its mail-in and absentee ballots until the following day. Officials in Montour County say around 1,000 mail-in ballots were sent out for this year's primary election, and as of this morning, more than 60% had already been returned. Now, Scott, Corey, and Lisa, that means we may not know the results of this special election tonight. Nikki Kreis, Newswatch 16, live in Sunbury.
Nikki, thanks very much. And of course, it's Montour County that would be in question there because Finn is a Montour County commissioner. So if he gets a strong turnout from the mail-in votes that are being returned that won't be counted until tomorrow, I mean, if this thing is within shouting distance tonight, he's going to be feeling pretty good about himself come tomorrow. Will it be in shouting distance tonight? That's the question.
That's the question. I think he has a shot because he's on the ballot. So and he's well known.
He is well known.
But it's just a difficult race for a Democrat. But in that district, you know, Democrats are Reagan Democrats, right? I mean, they are far more conservative than a Democrat that you would find in Philadelphia or in Allegheny County. So because of that, you know, there's a possibility, but it's hard to see the Republican Party going outside of its own here with respect to this. So it's still an uphill battle.
Nikki Kreis reported earlier what she called certainly a noteworthy group of Republicans for Finn. I don't want to say significant, but enough that she made note of. Our Norm Jones, our former anchor here at Newswatch 16, posted on social media, lifelong Republican, I voted for Trevor Finn. Norm Jones's words. Is there something to this? I don't think I'm going out of school with Norm there because he posted it on social media. So you got what you got.
Well, sure there is, right? I mean, this happens. I mean, if you want to win this race and you're in a Republican district, you better try to build some kind of coalition of Republicans who support you because they have the majority of the votes in the district. So it would be a smart political move for Finn to try to get as many Republicans on his team as possible. Maybe he could take enough away. Still an uphill battle, but it's worth the shot.
Well, you got to think he knew what he was going up against when he got into the race, right? So one would think that he had some sort of inkling that maybe he could have somewhat of a good turnout, good showing.
He certainly, as far as the Democrats in the 108th go, he's about as strong a candidate as they could find. And there was some dissension in the ranks in the Republicans because obviously there were a number of Republicans who wanted this party nomination that the party decides on. Here's a nomination for this district that Republicans have owned for the last 50 years. You know, as soon as the party gives you the nod, you have a job for life, is what you're thinking. There was some dissension after the selection process. In fact, I believe one of the party leaders stepped down from her post, it was a woman, because of disagreements over that. And I wonder if that's manifesting itself into this election tonight.
Well, and if Finn does his job, what's his goal? To create as much separation among Republicans as possible and peel people off. I wouldn't be surprised if he wasn't somehow behind some of that, because Lisa, to your point, you're not going to get into this race unless you think you have a legitimate shot to win it. He had to go in thinking he had a strong group within the Republican Party that could push him over the edge.
And that may be based on what you said, the dissension that perhaps happened there. All right, we've got to move on to Carbon County because there is a sheriff's race happening in Carbon County. There are 3 Republican candidates for this. No Democrats on the ballot here. And our Amanda Eustace is covering this race for us. She joins us live this evening. Amanda, hello.
Hello, good evening, Scott, Lisa, and Corey. Now, those 3 Republicans vying for that Republican spot are Daniel Ziegler, Daniel McLean, and Richard Brandt, and all of whom work right here at the courthouse and work for the Carbon County Sheriff's Department. Now, Daniel Ziegler is the current Carbon County Sheriff. He was appointed to fill Tony Haravilla's term after he retired in January of 2022. Now, prior to joining the Sheriff's Office, Ziegler worked for the Northampton County Sheriff's Office, or Department, for over 6 years. Daniel McLean is a lifelong Carbon County resident and serves as a deputy sheriff with the Carbon County Sheriff's Office. He has over 12 years of law enforcement experience, including his time as deputy sheriff and a former Summit Hill police officer. Now, Richard Brandt is the 3rd candidate on the ballot. He's been with the Carbon County Sheriff's Office for the past 6 months. He has 38 years of law enforcement with the East Brunswick Police Department in New Jersey and the Sheriff's Office in South Carolina. Now, this is a hotly contested race, as you guys mentioned, because there are no Democrats on the ballot, which means whoever wins tonight will most likely become sheriff in November. Amanda Eustace, Newswatch 16, live in Carbon County.
Thanks very much, Amanda. We're going to be watching that race a lot tonight.
And this is where you got to be careful because 2 of them are named Daniel. So you heard her say Danny there, but you've got, you know, the person who's in serving now, the deputy
Ziegler.
Daniel Ziegler, and then you've got Daniel McLean Jr., who's been with the department for 12 years. So got to choose the right Daniel. Make sure you are aware of that.
A lot of Daniels in that one office. All right, we have some results coming in already. 822 might be a new record, Corey. I don't know. It's pretty early. Let's get to Stacey Lang on the big board with that.
Yeah, Scott, Lisa, Corey, we're keeping an eye on these judges' races, these statewide races, and we'll take a look at where these votes are coming in from.
Okay.
Nearly all of these candidates in these 3 races for Supreme, Superior, and Commonwealth Court hail from either Pittsburgh or Philadelphia, and that's where a lot of our votes are coming from right now. First, I wanted to explain the difference between the 3 courts because it's something that I don't always understand. So I thought it was important to explain to our viewers. Supreme Court, of course, the highest appellate court in the state of Pennsylvania, similar to the U.S. Supreme Court. Superior Court, just below, handles appellate courts for civil and criminal cases. Commonwealth Court is cases, and Corey, you can correct me because you're nodding along, is if you sue the government or any kind of legal case that has to do with administration of law, correct?
You got it.
Got it. Okay. So let's take a look at the Supreme Court. There's 2 candidates on both the Democrat and Republican side here, and there's 1 spot that will be available in November. Looking at the Republicans for Supreme Court, pretty close here. Carolyn Carluccio is in the lead now, but there's only about a little less than 6,000 votes separating her from the other candidate, 2 women here, Patricia McCullough. Completely different story over here. Daniel McCaffrey on the Democratic side has 50,000 votes more at this point to Debbie Kunzelman, but look at where these votes are coming from. Luzerne County reporting some numbers now. Philadelphia area, which is where Daniel's from, Debbie Kunzelman from Beaver County, the votes are coming in from Allegheny County right now. Superior Court. There's 2 seats available in November. So on the Republican side, both of these names, Maria Batista and Harry Smale, will appear on the ballot in November. And on the Democratic side, we have Tamika Lane in the lead with Jill Beck and Pat Dugan just following behind. Only 802 votes separating the 2 women on the ballot right now. And quite a bit behind is Pat Dugan with 48,503 behind in 3rd place. Then Commonwealth Court, there are, let me check my notes. There's only 1 seat available in November. Right now on the Republican side, we have Megan Martin in the lead, 10,000 votes separating her and Josh Prince. And on the Democratic side, 8,700 votes separating Matt Wolf in the lead and Brian Neft. Again, those votes coming from Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, a few in our area now as well. So we'll keep an eye on it as the numbers continue to roll in.
A lot of judge races on the ballot tonight, Stacey. We are looking at all of them. We have some results already coming in from Lycoming County. Real early stuff, but some numbers to talk about. If we could take a look at some of those. On the Democratic side, race number 12, we're seeing Andrea Palizzi with an early lead over the two gentlemen. Carlucci, the appointed incumbent judge. I guess that's a contradiction in terms, but the judge who's serving as an appointed judge, Carlucci, and then Ryan Gardner, the DA, third on the Democratic side. However, on the Republican side, different story. Carlucci, the judge, and Gardner are out in front there. And Palizzi is coming in third place. Again, very, very early, but you know, you start to wonder if you see a pattern here that Andrea Palizzi is going to be a popular candidate on the Democratic side, maybe not as popular on the Republican side. There are 2 seats open in Lycoming County. You have to think the 2 Republican nominees are in the strong position in November. But all 3 could wind up being on the ballot come November if these results are a portent of things to come throughout the evening.
Right, and like you said, I mean, when you're the district attorney, you have that name recognition, right? So people are already familiar with you. That's one of the things to me about these elections, especially when it's the municipal ones. You're really voting for your friends and your neighbors, right? I don't understand why the turnout is always so low. And Corey, maybe you can weigh in on this, because these are the people that you see in the grocery store, that you see at church, maybe your kids or grandkids go to school together, but yet historically the turnout is so low for these elections, the primaries. Why is that?
Well, I have the answer. No, I think that people really focus on presidential elections, congressional elections. They forget the elections that matter most to them, right? If your roads are paved, garbage, prison system, emergency management, roads and bridges, all these things are mission critical to our daily lives, yet we vote and we're, you know, a little bit of apathy sets in with respect to local elections. I don't totally get it. When you think about, and I ran some numbers with respect to just Lackawanna County alone, Dems, maybe about 33% of them I'm projecting are going to vote. Okay. There are, in Lackawanna County, there are over 70,000 Democrats registered, about 40,000 Republicans registered. About 33% of those Dems are probably going to vote. Probably about 25% of Republicans are going to vote. Wow. And it continues to go down. If you look at 2011, 40% of Democrats voted. If you look at 2015, it was 37, 2019, 33. So it keeps going down. There's something broken here. We have to fix it because local elections matter. Yeah. And I think this year, more so than the last few, we have great candidates. Hopefully that'll maybe drive some additional turnout that we're not used to seeing. But we really do have great candidates, and hopefully that's starting to change. Hopefully we continue to get good people moving forward who bring in new perspectives, new ideas, and fresh visions for our region.
And we just got to get to the polls. It's the civic duty.
We're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be back here on WNEP2, almost 8:30. Polls have been closed for almost a half hour, but there's a lot more to talk about. Results are already coming in. We're going to know about some winners, I'd say, within the next 45 minutes or so, and you don't want to miss that. Stay with us here on WNEP2.
I'm calling in regards about my mother, and I'm here, and I just want to thank you because it saved my mother's life yesterday. And I'd like to know the names of the people that came in and saved her so I could call and thank them. And she's doing fine. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you.
When you fall and cannot get up, an accident can turn into a tragedy. But with Life Alert, one touch of a button can get you help fast. Life Alert saves a person from a catastrophe every 10 minutes.
Life Alert is a lifesaver. If it weren't for Life Alert, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
For a free Life Alert brochure, call 1-800-996-9845. Call now, 1-800-996-9845. For a free brochure, call 1-800-996-9845.
Do you listen to the TV on high volume or have trouble hearing conversation?
then you would benefit from hearing aids. Don't waste thousands on expensive hearing aids when you can get Nano's revolutionary technology for just $297. Don't be fooled by higher-priced hearing aids. The CIC Recharge is a true hearing aid, not an amplifier. With rechargeable technology, many customers say is superior to more expensive models. Call now and get not one, but 2 Nano hearing aids for just $297. Plus, we'll add a portable charging case and ship your order absolutely free. The CIC Recharge has a tiny in-the-ear canal design that is nearly invisible. Why keep missing out on important conversations or waste thousands of dollars? Call and get 2 CIC Recharge hearing aids for only $297 and free shipping.
800-431-9756. Again, that's 800-431-9756.
Welcome back to our live exclusive election night coverage here in WNEP2. Scott Schaefer along with Lisa Washington, Corey O'Brien, and Stacey Lang. We do have one mayoral election on this primary night.
And that is in Carbondale, and our Jack Culkin is covering this race for us this evening. He joins us live now to tell us about the 2 Democrats and no Republicans in this race. Hi, Jack.
Hello, Lisa, Scott, Corey, and Stacey back at the studio there. That is right. We are live here along Main Street in Carbondale, where the polls have officially closed and the candidates and their parties have gathered. We're here outside of Maria Lawler's campaign, where you can see her supporters are gathered inside here, taking a look at what I presume to be our station up there, but they're just hanging out for the night, waiting for these results to come in. Again, those polls just closed not too long ago, so they're just hanging out here waiting for that stuff to get started. We'll keep you up to date as those votes start to come in, and hopefully we can have those numbers for you shortly. Jack Culkin, Newswatch 16, live here in Carbondale.
All right, Jack, thanks very much. I don't see any numbers from Carbondale just yet. This is a classic case of kind of the, I don't want to say the old guard, because Michelle Bannon is certainly not older by any means,
right,
but she's the established guard versus the newcomer here in Carbondale.
I love this kind of race. Michelle Bannon has been around for a long time, one of the key people instrumental in Justin Taylor's campaigns and in government for decades now. And this, you have Maria Lawler, this insurgent, you know, just somebody who's fresh with a new vision, ideas, and really wants to reclaim her city in a way that she thinks is best. So you have 2 strong women who are very articulate, great candidates. It's too bad they're running in the same race, quite frankly, because they're both, I think, solid candidates, and both of them would do a great job. Isn't that what this is about? Again, getting some good quality candidates, and we have that in this race. It's just too bad that one has to win and one's going to lose, because they're both great candidates.
And what's interesting is that Michelle Bannon is the current city clerk, but she's taking a leave of absence while she's campaigning for this. And Lawler, of course, owns a cleaning business in the area. But yeah, I mean, I just think it's one to watch for sure.
She's taking a leave of absence because of Lawler. Lawler is holding the City Hall's feet to the fire in Carbondale about Mayor Taylor's dual responsibilities as both mayor and city administrator. Lawler objects to that, says it's against the city charter. She, called out Michelle Bannon that you couldn't run for office while you're serving as city clerk. So Michelle had to step down from her job that she has been the city clerk for as long as I've been going to Carbondale, which a long time. So she's a stickler for the details. I guess there's nothing wrong with that if you're running for public office.
Details matter. Something else we're going to talk about. I know we're going to get to the Lackawanna County Commissioner's race. We haven't spoken much about that. That's fascinating. Yes. But people who are running for 2 different offices, right? So if I don't win this, I'm still running for the school board of this, to be a part of that. That to me is interesting.
It is interesting. I'm not a huge fan of that. I mean, I think you pick that race. It's security. You run, but it is security.
Yeah.
It is security. So it is nice for a politician or somebody who's in elected office to be able to do that. But, get into the race you want to get into and run and win it. But to be running for 2 offices at the same time, I'm not so sure. But it may win. It may pay dividends for someone like Finn, right? He's a winner tonight in Northumberland County.
Yeah.
He's a winner at the end of the night in all likelihood, right? One way or another. So it is an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Something that I'm not so sure is a great idea in Pennsylvania, but we have this thing called the First Amendment, free speech and the ability, and that kind of trumps some other things.
Yes.
Justin Taylor's leaving Carbondale after 20 years. What's his legacy in the Pioneer City?
5 terms. I mean, you can't think of Carbondale and its resurgence as a city. I mean, if you think about it, it was Senator and then Governor Bob Casey, who came from Carbondale, I believe, Governor Casey. And, you know, he was the last real face of Carbondale. Justin Taylor, he's the face of Carbondale. He did a lot of great things there over decades. People always thought he'd be running for county commissioner. He'd run for all these other seats. But you know what? He stayed true to his hometown. And he built it. He got a hotel built. He did a lot of great things there to really always keep Carbondale in the limelight, one way or another. So you have to give him a lot of credit. I think it's going to be tough to be thinking about the word Carbondale without the name Justin Taylor. I think that'll take some getting used to.
Stacey, I know you're not ready for this at all, and I apologize, but you covered Justin Taylor for years as our Lackawanna County beat reporter. What are your thoughts on his legacy?
I think Corey hit the nail on the head. I mean, just thinking about, I covered Lackawanna County for a little over a decade, and in that span of time, how much downtown Carbondale, Main Street Carbondale has changed with Hotel Anthracite. Now there's a destination in downtown Carbondale, and there's downtown living and restaurants, and it has reclaimed itself as a city, as Corey said, and I think Justin is responsible for a lot of that. He and his wife actually own a wedding venue that's in downtown Carbondale now. There's reasons to go there. So that will be his legacy, I think, is the beautification of downtown. And Michelle Bannon has had a lot to do with that as well. So I think that will help carry her tonight.
And they're getting the bridge fixed behind City Hall.
They're getting the bridge fixed. That's been 30 years in the making.
That's been 30?
I think so.
It's been a long time. Yeah, no doubt about that. All right, we'll be looking at that race quite a bit tonight. There are some numbers coming in. I'm looking at my my board here. I'd love to see race 212, Northumberland County Commissioner. Oh my, this is my favorite race of the night.
Your favorite race?
Well, I don't know about that. It's one of my favorite ones. Northumberland County Commissioner, there's 2 incumbent Republicans, and all of a sudden there's a third guy in the race. You might recognize his name. Vinnie Clausey, former commissioner as a Democrat, now running as a Republican. Really had some Clausey is a well-off businessman. He put out some mailers and things like that. Had a very active campaign criticizing the 2 incumbents for what he said was financial shortcomings that weren't apparent to all. But Clausey trying to make a comeback tonight. He's trying to knock off at least one of these 2 in tonight's primary. He's off to a slow start, but again, just a few votes are being counted so far in Northumberland County. But this is one I want to watch because, well, let's face it, Vinnie Clausey, that man is he is a colorful sort.
Well, here's the question. Changing the party, how much does that play? If I like Vinnie Clausey because I like Vinnie Clausey, does it matter if he's a Democrat or Republican? He's a 2-term Democrat. Does that matter, Corey?
It matters. It matters.
Right.
It's tough.
I mean, these days, that D or R can make or break you depending on where you are, what the race is, right? But the person versus the party.
There's 2 Democrats in the race, so they're not opposed in the primary tonight. So Clausey could have stayed a Democrat and had a pretty good shot at beating one of the 2 because neither one seem to be well known as far as I can tell.
I think Clausey is taking a calculated risk here. He thinks he can pick off one of the 2 Republicans. Now, I'm not sure what intel he's got that we don't know with respect to why he would make that switch, but he is also a super colorful figure, right? And I'm just not so sure that the Republican Party is going to buy into that. But it gets back to a bigger point. And it's party support. And how much does it really matter? I know a lot of candidates, me one of them, never had the party support. So does that really matter at the end of the day? I'm not so sure. Colorful character. Has he, ingratiated himself to enough Republicans? That's going to be the question that's going to be answered probably in the next few hours.
You got to think his base in the Cole Township area is going to come out for him regardless of party. That's my speculation. Chickatano, also obviously a well-known name in the Cole region and in Northumberland County. So this is not an easy task for Clausey if he's going to try to pull this off tonight.
We shall see. Hopefully, in an hour and 21 minutes, we'll get some numbers in. And stay with us. We'll let you know. But no, I think it's interesting because I think you're right. Again, what I was saying, it seems like it may be more you're voting for the person in the primary than the party.
Another great primary that I'm keeping an eye on tonight, we're all keeping an eye on tonight, is in Schuylkill County, where the Democrats have their two candidates for commissioner, Gary Hess and Rita Baldino. The Republicans have eight candidates. They have the two incumbents and 6 others, although Boots Hetherington doesn't officially count as an incumbent because he was appointed, but he was appointed so long ago. Seems like he's been there forever. Frank Staudenmaier passed away shortly after his re-election 4 years ago, and Baron Hetherington's been in the office ever since. But the big question here in Schuylkill County is George Halkovich, the incumbent Republican, at the top of the ballot of 8 of them tonight, but facing all kinds of controversy, allegations of sexual assault or just sexual abuse. Harassment, that's a better word for it all. He's been dealing with this for quite some time now, and here he is running for re-election in a field of 8, and he's at the top of the ballot. Can this man pull this off and win renomination?
Well, it'll be interesting to see. I'm not so sure. I mean, I think the allegations are allegations that it's difficult to overcome. But if you are the incumbent seeking re-election, the more in, the better. The last thing you would want would be 1 or 2 people in, because that's much easier.
Right.
He's going to have some core support. I think that core support's very little. So I'm not sure that he really has a legitimate shot in the primary. However, from his perspective, top of the ticket, ballot position does matter to some degree if people aren't paying attention. But I have a feeling people are paying attention to this one. And I'm not so sure that he's got enough core support to get him over the hump. But typically, as an incumbent, you want the more the merrier.
And somewhat ironically, one of his most vocal critics has been Maria Casey, the clerk of courts. She too is in this race tonight. She too is in the Republican field. And so there'll be two nominations there in Schuylkill County, 8 Republicans. I don't see any numbers coming in yet from Schuylkill County, but that's another one that is fascinating to me tonight. But of course, I'm easily entertained. All right, we should really get to the elephant in the room. That's Lackawanna County Commissioners. That's some great stuff going on here in Lackawanna County, where we sit tonight on both tickets. We have, we'll start with the Democrats. There's 5 of them. We've pretty much decided that about 3 of them have a legitimate chance here. Now, Lisa talked earlier about the candidates who are running for 2 positions. 2 of these Democrats are doing just that. Philip Robinson is a member of the Abington Heights School Board. He's running for re-election. Michael Fedorka is a member of Dixon City Borough Council. He's running for re-election in that job. So we really kind of have a top tier here of Bill Gaughan, the Scranton City Councilman, Jerry Notarianni, the current chairman of the Board of Commissioners, running for a 3rd term, and Matt McGloin, who's obviously well known from his days as a star athlete with West Scranton and then Penn State, and then the Oakland Raiders. Oh, they were the Oakland Raiders then, yes. And here we have some early numbers, and still, and the fairly significant amount of numbers in from Lackawanna County here. Bill Gaughan, I've been hearing this all day, that Gaughan just has such strong support in Scranton and Dunmore that he's going to be hard to beat. He's going to be at the top of this ticket tonight. That's what people are telling me. Does it come true? I don't know, but so far so good. And there's McGloin in 2nd place. Notarianni, I thought it interesting that Notarianni was running television ads, because I don't really remember him doing that much in his previous elections, and he did very, very well in his previous elections. This year he's running ads.
This is for the 3rd term.
Is that a telling sign, Corey O'Brien?
It's telling sign, and its trouble is looming. When you're the incumbent, it's a mixed bag. You have core support, but you also have a natural cap. Right? You have this natural cap on the voters who are voting for you. You have Matt McGloin, a star quarterback at Penn State, NFL quarterback, and you have the person who's worked the hardest in the race, Bill Gaughan. There's no doubt in my mind that he has worked the hardest. Hard work matters. Look at the fundraising numbers. Nobody's raised more money. He's raised about $220,000. Matt McGloin raised about $170,000, and Jerry Notarianni about $150,000. The first campaign that you wage when you're running for office is the campaign for dollars. And that is telling. When people are willing to invest in your campaign, they believe in you and they believe in your message. He started off and has finished very strong with respect to that. In addition, he's talked to everybody who ever was anybody in politics, and he's knocked on a ton of doors. And he has 5 kids. He has a newborn. Right? So this is a guy who's kind of busy at home, but he's done a remarkable job. So I have a feeling tonight Bill Gaughan's going to be the big winner, and it's going to be hard work, and it's going to be the people who put him over the top. Now, that second spot, Matt McGloin, popular figure. His father, Paul McGloin, is a popular person in West Scranton. Well-known, a very big supporter of mine. His brother, Paul McGloin, is in baseball and sports and does a heck of a job and has a great reputation. And obviously, Matt's a hard worker as well. And he has name ID. And there's that one little elephant in the room. It's called Penn State. Right? Penn State matters in Pennsylvania. At least one of us here is a Penn State grad, right? So, so I can tell you that Penn State matters, and it matters in Lackawanna County. So I think Matt McGloin's in a pretty good spot. Jerry, who, and I like Jerry Natariani, and I think Jerry Natariani's done a pretty good job. I think the issue is how much of the past ends up on his lap.
Right.
When you're the incumbent now, everybody's targeting you. So anything that went on over the last 4 years that wasn't great, you're to blame.
For it.
Whether you're running for re-election or not, somebody is gonna take the hit on the past 4 years. Because I think often, a lot of people would say in Lackawanna County it hasn't gone great. So this may be that change that the people of Lackawanna County are looking for. We'll see. McGloin's going to be tough. Gaughan's going to be tough to beat.
I think this is the most interesting one. And we're just talking about Democrats now. Let's talk about the Republicans in this race. And your favorite word, teamed. We have some of these candidates who've teamed.
And we have the perfect guy here to talk about this. Let's look at the early numbers that have come in. Now, we have the incumbent Chermak, we don't have any.
Oh, we don't have
apologize,
numbers.
so we had some numbers. We'll talk about the Republicans. The incumbent is Chris Chermak. He has teamed with Diana Campbell from Mayfield.
Right.
And this is the classic old strategy.
Well, Chermak is running for his second term.
He's running for his second term, and the strategy is if you're a man from the metro area, you pick a woman from the Mid-Valley. Do you know of any other incumbent commissioners in history who have ever tried that strategy, Corey O'Brien?
I know of one who tried the strategy and selected a great running mate in Jeanette Mariani, and she would have been a great county commissioner, by the way, but that was a strategy, right? I was Dunmore Music. I was the lower part of the valley, and Jeanette Mariani was the mayor of Blakely. So from my perspective, diversity on the ticket, man-woman. We also had diversity from a regional vote standpoint. We just didn't get it done in the primary. I ended up with Jim Wanczak, and we worked very, very well together. For our 4-year term. So
Wanczak had a running mate too. He ran with Mr. Jeffers,
who
is now the county chief of staff.
Who's a tremendous guy as well. Yeah. So we had really good people in that race when we won, but it doesn't work because at the end of the day, the voters decide who's going to be there. So I have a feeling at the end of the day that the voters here are going to say, Chris Chermak, you've been doing a good job. We're going to rehire you. And Brian Reap, we remember that name. Oh, and you know what? We kind of like you too. Brian, we're going to give you the nod in the second spot.
There's a prediction. We haven't talked much about the other two candidates. Maybe we could see that board again, but neither one of them is a trifling opponent here for the two, the team that has teamed at the top of the ticket. Brian Reap was a tremendously popular Scranton City Councilman as a Republican 20 years ago. He left office. He hasn't been back in public office since, and just there's always been that kind of Brian Reap might come back and run for XYZ office. He never did. This year he is. And now he's back. Lorene Cummings is a former commissioner herself, the first elected woman to be a commissioner in Lackawanna County. Chermak, ironically, ran 4 years ago specifically to unseat her. I know this because he came up to me at a church picnic and said, I'm Chris Chermak and I'm running against Lorene Cummings as a Republican. That was his words exactly. So it's a possibility they could end up teamed up.
They could be working together.
As the Republican ticket after tonight, which would be interesting.
Let's get to our Emily Kress because she's actually covering this race for us. She's actually covering the Republicans who are running for Lackawanna County Commissioner. Emily, what is the latest where you are? And tell us where you are.
Hi, Lisa. Yeah, this is a hotly contested race for the Lackawanna County Commissioners race. We are in Clark Summit right now at Chris Chermak's election night party. We'll just show you what it's like out here. We've got some live music. Everyone's just excited that the polls are closed and now we're going to be awaiting those results. Now let's recap our Republican candidates here. Incumbent minority Chris Chermak has teamed up with Mayfield Borough Council President Diana Campbell in an effort to win the first Republican majority in 20 years. close. Now, the other Republican candidates, former Commissioner Laureen Cummings is attempting to make a comeback, along with former Scranton Councilman Brian Reap. He's been out of public office since the early 2000s. Now, it is still early in the night. You know, polls only closed about 50 minutes ago. We're hoping to talk to both of these candidates here just to get their reaction. The night is coming to a close. Get those reactions, and we'll bring you the latest as soon as we get it. Emily Kress, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Lackawanna County.
All right, Emily, thanks so much. I think this is one of the most fascinating races of the night, so we will be keeping in touch with her again in just a few moments. Beautiful night at the State Street Grill in Clark Summit. Our Courtney Harrison is covering the Democrats in the Lackawanna County Commissioner's race. She is live for us tonight at the old Globe store, the county administration building downtown. Hi, Courtney.
Hi, Scott. Yeah, we're here at the Government Center as all the ballots are still coming in from all of the precincts here. They've got them all lined up and ready to go to be counted. We're keeping an eye on what's happening here. We're also following the Democrats. Now, we stopped by a couple of the campaign parties already this evening, and it was a little quiet, so we figured we'd come down here and check out the action. But we're following, as we said, the Democrats, incumbent Jerry Notarianni. We've got former West Scranton graduate and Penn State quarterback Matt McGloin, as well as former Scranton City Council member Bill Gaughan, Philip Robson, and Michael Fedorka. So we're going to keep an eye on those numbers as they come in. We're going to make a few stops through the evening as the parties continue. But as you can see, still rolling in the ballots from all of the precincts in Lackawanna County. So we're going to keep an eye, and we'll check back in with you guys here in a little bit. But for now, Courtney Harrison, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Scranton.
That's great stuff, seeing the votes come in there, Courtney. Thank you. We'll see you later on.
8:50 now. We're going to take a quick break, but we will be right back with more of Your Voice, Your Vote primary election day here on WNEP2.
Oh, yeah, dude, that doesn't look good. I know what to do. I'm going to cashnetusa.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, I can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to cashnetusa.com to apply for the money you need.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
Bro, you gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's a white people thing.
Escúchame, en esta casa los hombres no lloran.
You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
Thanks for hearing me out, bro. Appreciate it.
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad. Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
I think I would like a divorce.
All right.
Thanks to WNEP viewers, these pets have new homes. We'll feature a new pet to adopt from shelters around our region every Friday on Newswatch 16 at 5:30. 16 to the rescue, only on W.
We appreciate you being with us this evening as we are getting these election results in. Lisa Washington along with Scott Schaefer, political analyst Corey O'Brien, of course, our Stacey Lang with you tonight for primary election 2020. Seems like we were just here in November.
Yep.
How is it May already?
We have all kinds of numbers coming in from a number of counties around northeastern and central Pennsylvania. Our Stacey Lang's looking at a lot of statewide results and the special election in central Pennsylvania. Let's go to her.
Yeah, and for the first time tonight, we do have some numbers in that special election. We talked about it earlier in the show in the 108th State District. This is a special election because the incumbent moved up to the Senate, a scenario we've seen a lot, especially in our area because of redistricting and because of retirements. So we have three candidates here, Michael Stender, the Republican, Trevor Finn, and Elijah Stretching. The 108th is all of Montour County and part of Northumberland, the northern part of Northumberland County, which is You can see Watsontown, Milton, Sunbury down here make up the 108th district. Montour County, goose eggs, nothing yet. But Northumberland County, we do have some numbers, a total of 3,100 votes. And Michael Stender, the Republican, coming in at the lead, just bumped up a little bit, 74%, 22.2% for Trevor Finn, who's the longtime Montour County commissioner. So he would presumably do better in his home county. We don't have numbers for that yet. And we have a 3.7% for the Libertarian candidate, Elijah Stretching.
And that's 39% reporting, Stacey? Up at the top there.
How do I know that?
Right there, look, right there.
It's my first time doing this. 39% voting.
In Northumberland County.
In Northumberland County,
Finn's going to need some serious numbers coming out of Montour if he's going to
overcome
that. Stender's from Sunbury, so that being the county seat, a lot of votes in the city of Sunbury. He's obviously doing well among voters there.
Finn needs a big margin. So we could just watch that Montour number at this point and see where that is, because he's going to, and I'm just not so sure in that county if there's enough push. Can he really separate himself from the Republican in a Republican district by that much of a margin? I'm not so sure.
But this is just 39%, so it
could change. It could change. 39% is a lot.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a lot.
39%. And those kind of numbers in Northumberland County. I mean, Stender's going to have such a lead there that it's hard to fathom that Finn's going to be able to come back. But we have seen some crazier stuff. Judge Tara Toohill will attest to that, won't she? Yes. We have seen some comebacks. So, all right, that's where we stand with the 108th district. And that's really a district that the Republicans statewide are counting on a win. I mean, if somehow Finn would pull an upset, that would be a kick in the trousers down in Harrisburg, because they would not have seen that coming. And it doesn't look like it is going to be coming. We have a lot of numbers coming in from a lot of different races, but does I guess the question, the third party candidate in that race, how much of a difference does he make? Does he pull votes away from Finn or for Stender?
Well, I'm going to tell you in the morning. I think probably pull some votes away from the Republican would be my guess. I mean, that's conventional wisdom would be that you'd pull some Republicans, and that's where Finn has an opportunity. Again, if you're in a district that's not favorable to you from a party standpoint, again, the more people in it, the better. Especially if you're going to be a little bit right of the Republican. Hey, you're not going to pull away from Dems in that situation. You're going to pull away core Republicans. It's Finn's Hail Mary pass.
And this guy he's a former Marine, I believe, the Libertarian in this county. That was kind of surprising to me. I didn't expect to see a third party candidate.
A very articulate individual, military service, so a really good background with respect to that district. Feeds really well into the district, which I think that causes a little bit of pause and some trouble for the Republican candidate.
Let's check in with Nikki Kreis, because she is covering this one for us.
She was with the Republican candidate, Mr. Stender, in Sunbury earlier. I presume she's still there. Nikki.
We are still here at the America's Hose Company in Sunbury. Supporters of Republican candidate Mike Stender are here, and you can see the candidate is right over there talking to some of his supporters. Like you said, some of these three candidates are hoping to win that seat. Republican Michael Stender is a Sunbury resident who is on the Shikellamy School Board. Democrat Trevor Finn lives in Danville and has been a Montour County commissioner for nearly 20 years. Libertarian Elijah Stretching is a former Marine who lives in Northumberland. Republican Linda Schlegel-Culver previously held this seat for more than a decade. She is also here. She just arrived at this gathering. The 108th district includes all of Montour County and parts of Northumberland County. We spoke with election officials in both of those counties, and they said voter turnout was very low today. Northumberland County's results are expected to be in tonight for this special election, but Montour County does not count its mail-in and absentee ballots until the following day. Officials in Montour County say around 1,000 mail-in ballots were sent out for this year's primary election. As of this morning, more than 60% had already been returned. That means we may not have the results of this special election tonight, but of course we will keep you posted from the America's Hose Company here in Sunbury. Nikki Kreis, Newswatch 16, live in Northumberland County.
All right, Nikki, thank you so much for that update. update.
Why don't we stay in central Pennsylvania and talk about Lycoming County? We have all kinds of numbers coming in. Two big races there, the race for commissioner on both tickets and the race for judge, where there are 2 open seats on the bench for Lycoming County. First numbers we'll look at tonight are from, well, we saw the numbers earlier on the judge race, and they were pretty clearly defined on both the Democratic and Republican sides. There's candidate Polizzi doing well on the Democratic side, candidate Gardner doing much better on the Republican side. Now, again, 2 nominations on each side, but at the end of the day, you want to be one of the Republican nominees in Lycoming County.
Going into the fall, right? And all of these have cross-files, so I mean, either way, it's good for all of them.
There's the Democratic side. You see Polizzi still holding on to that lead, and it has been really holding steady there throughout the evening early on. Carlucci is the sitting judge. He was appointed following the retirement of one of the incumbents. And Ryan Gardner is the DA in Lycoming County. Again, this is the Democratic ticket. The Republican side shows a bit of a different story, and the big question there is how far back is the third candidate on the Republican side? And that deficit is well, it's a couple hundred votes right now. There are not that many votes in on the Republican side, and Carlucci and Gardner are really neck and neck, and then Polizzi pulling up in third. So you can see the real difference of the 2 parties in the race for judge
Republicans.
In Lycoming County. So that's something to keep an eye on. Again, if Polizzi really gets really blown out of the water on the Republican side, she's going to have an uphill climb in November, even if she is the top vote getter among the Democrats.
Right. That'll be one to watch for sure.
I like cross-filing district attorneys. Tough on crime works well in the Republican Party, whether you're a Democrat or not. District attorneys, and I'm not sure exactly why this is, but district attorneys of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania will typically have this bipartisan support. I think Ryan Gardner is going to be a very good candidate. I think he's going to get through this primary, and he's going to be a very good candidate in the fall. And it really is, there's something about district attorneys. They're just, they really are, they really cut across party lines.
Right.
I don't know anybody who's pro-crime. I just don't know many.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
I don't know many.
Not at all. Let's get to
Don Corleone.
Of course he would say that. Let's get to Chris Keating, who is covering this for us there. We were just looking at some of the results. Chris, show us what the atmosphere is like where you are.
Yeah, guys, right now things have gotten busy. I mean, about 15 minutes ago, you couldn't tell that anything was happening, but just out of nowhere, a bunch of cars have started to report here to the Lycoming County Voter Services. We had a whole line down the street, and so far a couple of volunteers and officials have told me that more than, I think it was like 5 minutes ago, we said 12 precincts have reported. I think that number is now well over 24. 24 precincts have now arrived with their ballots. They're unloading. As you can see now, the volunteers are here. They're going to be working throughout the night as these cars arrive and bring these ballots in. But I want to touch on what you guys said in the judges race. I think it's important. Right now, as you said, early results show that Carlucci and Gardner are neck and neck. Now, the main thing here is, yes, you probably want to win the Republican ticket out here in central Pennsylvania, but for all 3 candidates, right now, they're all heading to November. As long as they finish 1 or 2 on either side of the aisle, they will be there in November on the ballot, and that's a whole different election at that point. But right now, like you said, Polizzi is, from early results, from what I'm looking at right here, is doing fairly well and is controlling the Democratic ballot. But like you said, Gardner and Carlucci are neck and neck for the Republican ticket. And right now, you can see they're probably the 2 favorites out here if it does head to November. You never know, as ballots come in, maybe Polizzi makes that skyrocket on the Republican ticket, and we'll see where it goes from there. But as results come in, we'll update you all night long, and we'll keep you up to date. You guys keep having fun back there in the studio.
That we shall. Chris Keating in Williamsport. Thank you very much, sir.
Well, we know they have some counting to do because we saw the ballots there being unloaded out of the trunks of those vehicles.
We have numbers in the race for commissioner in Lycoming County as well. There are obviously 3 seats. There's only 1 incumbent running. 2 incumbents are stepping down in Lycoming County, the Republican Tony Masser and the Democrat Rick Mirabito, the former state representative, not running for re-election. So there are 2 open seats in Lycoming County, 4 candidates on each ticket. And on the Democratic side, a real familiar name at the top of the ticket in the early voting, Mark Musina is the younger brother of the former Major League Baseball pitcher Mike Musina, the Hall of Famer. And there's Mark with a very slight lead over Denitra Moffett, who is an Army vet from Loyalsock Township and the president of the Lycoming Women Democrats. So also we have Victoria Marks, who is running neck and neck there too. So again, there's 2 nominations there. The top 3 look to be really battling it out. So that'll be something we want to keep an eye on throughout the evening. Victoria Marks is a retired air traffic control specialist who lives in Montoursville, which would certainly be the strength for the Messina family as well. Now on the Republican side, the incumbent Scott Metzger had the early lead over the rest of the field. You have Mark Sortman, who has an early second place situation right now. He is a Loyalsock Township supervisor. Adam Welteroth, the guy we've seen some television commercials. I think we were actually in one.
We were.
Member of the Williamsport Area School Board, bail release officer for the county. He's third right now, and again, there's just a couple hundred votes separating everyone at this point, but the early leader is the incumbent, not unexpected there, and then Sortman and Welteroth will be battling it out for that second nomination. Sortman with the lead from Loyalsock Township.
You have to talk about Evan Payton, though. 23 years old, pursuing his master's degree through Oregon State, and he works as an assistant golf pro. So he's in this race, 23, in graduate school. Wants to also be a commissioner.
I noticed a number of actually very young candidates in these races tonight. Jared Hauk is running for sheriff in Sullivan County. He just graduated from Keystone College in 2023 with a degree in criminal justice. What's that, yesterday? When was commencement? Well, he's on the ballot tonight as a Republican candidate for Sullivan County Sheriff. That's an open seat, and there's no Democrats. Bobby Montgomery is retiring after 2 terms. So, heck, this kid could go right from, I don't mean to say it, this young man could go right from college to an elected position as sheriff of Sullivan County.
And in Honesdale, I think, or Wayne County, there's also a younger. I remember seeing the ad, we need younger candidates.
Yes.
So that's something that we will see.
I should have a little mark on my cheat sheet here for young. But I notice there is another one who is very young. When I find that candidate, we will let you know. That's Lycoming County for now. Numbers coming in there, and we're keeping an eye on that. Looking at my board here, we have a lot of numbers coming in from just about everywhere. How about District Attorney in Monroe County? That's race 311. That is also an open seat. On the Republican side, there's one candidate, so that is settled for tonight. But 2 Democrats, Donald Leith, who's an attorney from Stroudsburg, works as a public defender and has worked as an assistant DA, and Mike Mancuso, the current first assistant district attorney, well known to all of us in the news business. We've been dealing with Mike for many years, and Mike has the early lead right now. The winner of this primary will take on Alexander Marek. He has a law office in Stroudsburg, works as an assistant DA in Northampton County, just south of Monroe. David Christine is retiring after 6 terms as the district attorney in Monroe County. He's been there for a long time. And Mancuso has been at his side for many of the last few years. Mancuso has the early lead in the primary tonight.
And he has the name recognition, I think. Like you said, we know about him, and I think thus others will as well. So I think this is one of those where it comes down to the people, the names that you recognize.
Yeah, Bradford County DA, that's race 310, and that's interesting too, basically because of what happened to the last district attorney. Brad Salzman met an unfortunate fate. He was arrested and convicted, so he is out of the picture in Bradford County. They appointed Albert Andre in 2021 to replace, I said Chad Salzman, my mistake there. Albert Andre is not running for re-election, for election this year, so there's 2 Republicans, no Democrats on the ticket. Richard Wilson is a criminal defense attorney from Towanda, Bradford County's chief public defender for 7 years, and James Nasatka, the current first assistant district attorney. And it's Wilson, the defender, beating the prosecutor in the race, become the chief prosecutor in the county. Is that unusual, do you think, Corey O'Brien?
Well, yes, it's unusual. It is unusual. And again, getting back to Lisa's point, it's name ID, but it's also grassroots. It's ground game. It's working. It's building a core infrastructure. And you can overcome some of these long odds sometimes just by having the team in place and having the infrastructure on the ground to get it done. And I think that that's probably, at the end of the day, one of the reasons why he's doing as well as he's doing right now.
Yes.
There's a race for district attorney in Union County as well. 2 Republicans are running to replace incumbent Peter Johnson, retiring after 7 terms.
Wow.
Peter Johnson in Union County. No Democrats on the ballot, so we have 2 Republicans. The first assistant DA is Brian Kerstetter, and he is facing against Robin Zenzinger from East Buffalo Township, and a first assistant DA in Northumberland County. And it is Zenzinger with the early lead, as far as the numbers I can see here. Excuse me. Just about 160 vote lead. Zenzinger over Kerstetter. Again, we're talking about race number 312, if we have that. But that's yeah, here we go.
And there are no Republicans on this ballot.
Pardon me, no Democrats.
Yes, no Democrats. That's correct. These are both Republicans,
Right,
no Democrats.
yes.
And this is what, 30% reporting. Okay, so Zenzinger there.
Kerstetter ran for a judge seat 2 years ago, was unsuccessful there, running again this time for the open seat as Union County DA. But again, only about 160 votes. It's early. This could go either way. So again, it depends on where these votes are coming from. But we just want to keep you up to date on these numbers as they're rolling in, and they are rolling in across the picture here. How about another kind of I don't want to say a sidebar race, but one we haven't paid a lot of attention to is the race for treasurer in Lackawanna County. This is interesting because it's an open seat after, oh gosh, how long was Ed Karpovich in office, Corey?
Many years. Many years. More than he would admit.
8 terms. He's retiring. No Republicans on the ballot. 2 Democrats, and this is really kind of a break in the Democratic Party, the 2 wings of the Democratic Party here. Angela Rempe Jones has been a long-time aide to first state representative, now state senator Marty Flynn, also to state representative Tom Welby, who took Flynn's seat when Flynn moved up to the Senate. So she's been a long-time aide. She's been in the mix.
And Kyle Donahue.
Well, there you go, Kyle Donahue, the current state representative. J.R. Reifus is a bit of a newcomer to voters, but he's been in the party structure for a long time, and he's actually, I believe, related to the party chairman and a blood relative.
Well, he's the grandson of former Lackawanna County Commissioner Ray Alberigi.
I see.
And he's a former Penn State football player. So J.R. Reifus is a tremendous individual. I know him very, very well. He comes from good stock, as they say in Lackawanna County. So he's a great candidate. But I have to say that Angela Rempe Jones, I've just been hearing a lot of momentum. Just a lot of momentum building for her candidacy over the last several months. So this is a difficult race for J.R. Reifus. I think he was hoping, he had the endorsement of Ed Karpovich and the endorsement of a lot of core Democrats who not only remember but worked with Commissioner Alberigi and really idolized Commissioner Alberigi. I'm just not sure whether that's going to get him over the top tonight. I think many people within the party have been strong for him. Angela, really, again, somebody who's been around, somebody who's been in politics very recently, has some core support throughout and has just been building momentum. And, the big mo matters. The first George Bush said it, the big mo matters. That's why Bill Clinton beat him in 1992. Who's got the big mo toward the end? And I think the big mo belongs right now to Angela Rempe Jones.
All right. We've talked about a bunch of races, and we have a couple more. It's 12 minutes after 9. We hope to have some winners declared before this show is over at 10 o'clock here on WNEP2. At 10, we move right in, seamlessly, I might add, into Newswatch 16 at 10. But we have a lot more to talk about before then. Quick break. We'll be right back on The Deuce.
What should we do?
I'm going to CashNetUSA.com. I can apply in minutes, and if approved, we can have the money as soon as the same business day.
Go to CashNetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
No one talks much about elder abuse, but it happens in all communities, among all races and nationalities. Elder abuse is when someone takes money from an elderly person, when someone pushes or hits an elderly person. Elder abuse is violence, theft, neglect. If you know someone who is being abused, neglected, or exploited, call your local area agency on aging today.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here.
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Stay connected with Pennsylvania Outdoor Life. Share your photos with the WNAP app. You'll see them in our People and Places slideshow at WNAP.com. Let us know your name, hometown, and enough about your story so we can tell it. You might even see your photo.
Your voice, your vote on WNEP 2 election results from primary election day in Pennsylvania. We want to get right to our Stacey Lang because you already have some results for us coming in.
We have results and we have the AP calling a race, that special election, the PA 108th race that we've been talking about all night. Linda Schlegel-Culver, of course, moved up to the Senate in a special election a few months ago. And now, according to the AP, we have a winner, Michael Stender, the Republican, pulling 70% of the vote. There's 44% reporting for the entire district, which is, of course, Montour County and part of Northumberland County. Stender is a Northumberland County native. Trevor Finn is a recognizable name. We talked about that as well, that he is a longtime Montour County commissioner and running for re-election in that race as well. And earlier we talked about how he was going to need to pull good numbers in Montour County. And he is leading in Montour County, but not by a lot. There are only 378 votes here, so that's a very small amount, 11%, but still only 76 votes separating Michael Stender, the projected winner, and Trevor Finn in Montour County. Northumberland County, he just came away. Stender did. If you look at the whole thing, again, let's take a look at those numbers. Michael Stender was 70% of the vote. AP calling that the projected winner in this special election. So he is presumably who will go to Harrisburg. Yes.
Well, I said we'd have a winner. We have a winner.
We have a winner.
And the Republicans' winning streak in the 108th is now 51 years strong. We do this all the time. We root for the horse race. We want it to be exciting. We want to be here at 11:15 saying it's coming down to the wire. And it just wasn't going to be happening tonight. Norm Jones, you got me all excited for no reason at all, that guy.
The math actually is interesting in how the AP calls races, right? They're looking at projections and they're looking to try to determine, well, what percentage of the vote do you need in the remaining? Can you possibly make it up? And what they've decided here is he probably needs about 70% of the votes in Montour County, and he's just not going to get that. No. When we saw Stender live sitting in the background there during the interview, he didn't look very nervous.
No, they were having a good time.
They were having a good time.
Very relaxed. Yeah.
He was having a hot dog and just hanging out. So I have a feeling he thought maybe he was going to be declared the winner pretty soon.
Yeah, he is at the America's Hose Company in Sunbury, Mr. Stender, the Republican. Trevor Finn, the Democrat, is at his home in Danville.
That's also telling.
That's
very telling.
Yes, that he was perhaps not expecting to have a victory party tonight. Perhaps.
And then,
maybe he just, he just likes his own house.
Might have just been having people over in the basement.
Yeah, but if you think you got a chance, I think you want to.
Cooking up some pigs in a blanket,
Maybe the backyard.
Draft beers, yeah. I
see those nice lights.
Oh gosh! All right, you guys are going so far.
Yeah, we really were.
We are going to check in with our Nikki Krise momentarily because she is covering this race for us. But again, the AP has called this for Michael Stender, who is Michael Stender Jr., we should say, the Republican from Sunbury, a member of the Schuylkill County School Board. So the school board may be looking for a new member there with Mr. Stender winning this 108th. And again, that's because Linda Schlegel-Culver replaced the state senator John Gordner, who retired for the 27th district. And I think she was actually at the event. Nikki mentioned Linda Schlegel-Culver was there. So we will be getting in touch with Linda shortly. We're also going to check on those statewide judges races. Again, I call that the Philly-Pittsburgh races, right? Because that's what you have in both the Commonwealth Court as well as the Supreme Court, the people who want to be the next justices on the high courts.
Stacey's keeping an eye on that. Nikki's keeping an eye on the 108th. And of course, this is exactly what the Republicans needed in Harrisburg, was to at least keep this seat, because the race in Delaware County now is the one everybody's going to be looking at. That one's going to be a little tougher for the Republicans to win.
I think we have Nikki now, again, with the 108th.
I imagine Mr. Stender must be at least thinking about making some remarks. Nikki.
Hi. So we are here, and we actually... Yes, hi. So I'm here with Michael Stender, and we actually just kind of told you that you are the projected winner here. So how do you feel?
It's a wonderful experience. It's very humbling, to be able to get this type of support from the citizens of the 108th District.
I mean, you're feeling pretty good right now. You have all your supporters right here.
Yeah, no, it's wonderful. I have, all my family and friends, and like I said, even those who couldn't make it tonight, them coming to the voting booth today it's such a humbling experience. I'm blessed.
What are your plans?
I haven't put a lot of thought past today, right? So no. Tomorrow, we'll start to get into work, and we'll figure out, hopefully the Speaker of the House announces when we're going to get sworn in, and I can start officially serving the residents of the 108th District.
All right, thank you so much, Michael Stender, the next state representative of the 108th District. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Here we have it. Nikki Kreis, Newswatch 16, live in Northumberland County.
Saw it live right here in WNEP2. Michael Stender, winner of the 108th District, the special election for the State House of Representatives. I've seen more excited winners on election night over the years, but everyone,
he's feeling good.
Everyone handles victory in their own personal way, I would say.
It's exciting to see, though. He had a smile on his face. He's worked hard. Think about all the hard work that all these candidates put in. They knocked on doors. They raised money. They had to leave their kids and their family members to go out and
to every picnic,
to go to
every pancake breakfast.
And those things. So you have to feel great for candidates, but what you also have to do is feel great for the other two candidates in the race, because they did a great job, and they got in the race.
They did.
And they made a difference in this race, and they're going to make Michael Stender a better House member due to their impact in this election. So I think, tonight we should really be congratulating and thinking about all these candidates and thanking them for their willingness to get in the ring. It's not easy to do.
Right.
And it's nice to see that they did it.
And we were talking about the number of young people getting into these races now.
I found my other guy, Rylan Ebride.
Okay.
Graduated from Midwest in 2018, studying business at Penn State, running tonight as a Republican for Snyder County Treasurer.
Okay.
There you go. I knew there was another college student in there somewhere.
And a Penn Stater, so we love that as well.
Again, the Penn State effect. You keep mentioning this.
I love this. Drive out to Sealands Grove and cast a vote for that guy.
Yes, I will.
Don't do that.
And in Lackawanna County, you're able to do that. No, you're not, Stacy. No, you're not.
Vote early and often, as they say.
Love to see the updated numbers in Carbondale. That's race number 400 between Bannon and Lawler, and it looks like Michelle Bannon is doing all right in some of these early numbers that we see. Again, that's race 400. Yeah, again, early numbers has about a 200 vote lead there. We talked earlier about these two women running in Carbondale. Our Jack Culkin is with them tonight. And
not especially early, though, with 70% reporting.
70% and only 300 and some votes. That's a little sad.
We talked about the turnout.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take, that would mean that just 200 votes is going to get you elected as mayor of Carbondale. That seems...
That's the problem in the primaries, when people don't show up to vote.
Not that Michelle Bannon is not a fine
right,
choice.
No, that's what I mean. You're saying just compared to the number of people who live there, the number of registered voters.
Yeah.
These are the people who are going out to do their civic duty during the primary.
And that's disappointing. Michelle Bannon is a person who's dedicated her life. If you know her, and I know we've all dealt with her in the past, she has dedicated her life to public service. She really has.
She really has.
She has been around it, and this has been her passion for years. So a night like tonight, if she's successful, it will be all the hard work, all the hours with no fanfare, her doing the city's work late at night, early in the morning for decades.
Right.
So
there's something good about that, but this turnout is unacceptable.
Well, the numbers have just updated in Carbondale. Bannon now at 387 votes to 198 for Maria Lawler. That's 66% to 34%. And I'm trying to see but I don't have how many. That is 80% of the votes in Carbondale.
Okay, so that's 10% more than what we were seeing.
Yeah, so she's up to almost 400 votes. Michelle Bannon in the lead there. So it looks like she is on her way with 80% of the votes in, and she has a lead of that significance. It looks like Michelle Bannon could very well be in a strong position. Here's the updated numbers as we see them right now. And again, no Republicans on the ballot, so barring any kind of write-in, it would be clear sailing for Michelle in the fall if she indeed holds on to this lead tonight. So That's the news from Carbondale. Again, we'll be checking in with our Jack Culkin about what's going on up there. About Lackawanna County, that's the one we're all been interested in. We really haven't been paying as much attention to that as I thought we would be. That's race 204 and 205. Over on the Democratic side, we're still seeing Bill Gaughan, Matt McGloin, and Jerry Notarianni in that order, but it is close, especially at the back end there. So Gaughan, as you said, Corey, and as we've been hearing all day, he looks like he's going to be the winner here. Just, 52% reporting so far, so there's still a lot of votes to be counted. But is that second and third, remember, whoever finishes third is kind of out of luck here. So McGloin with the lead of a couple hundred votes over Notarianni right now. Jerry Notarianni is the incumbent. He is not in the best position that he would want to be in right now, but there's still a lot of votes to be counted. On the Republican side, race 205, it's Chris Chermak, of course, and his running mate is Diana Campbell. And it'll be interesting to see how they're doing. Okay, and
there's
another. So Chermak and Campbell, we saw it there for a second. Chermak and Campbell are 1 and 2 on the Republican side, and it looks like they have a pretty good lead over the third place candidate right now, and I'm going to let you know in a second here.
Is that Brian Reap or Lauren Cummings?
Yeah, Reap's in third right now, but he is behind by about 1,100 votes, and there we have it up on the screen.
Okay.
So this team thing might work.
So maybe Chermak and Campbell does work.
It might work. What Corey O'Brien could not do in 2011.
I don't see a lot of confidence on your face.
Yeah, Chris Chermak can do in 2023.
Maybe. I think there's going to be about 11,000 votes cast on the Republican side.
You think?
Total votes. That's where I think we're going to end up. It'll be interesting. I don't know where these votes are coming from. If they're coming from Scranton, this is the end of Brian Reap's night.
Okay.
If they're not coming from Scranton, he still has a shot.
Right.
When I look at the Democratic side in this race, it looks like those numbers would be Scranton numbers because you have McGloin, you have Gaughan, and you have Notarianni, all Scranton people, and very close. So that tells me that these numbers are probably Scranton, which would wreak some havoc on Brian Reap's campaign if they're Scranton numbers. So it'll be interesting. I think Bill Gaughan's going to be very strong in Dunmore. I think he's going to be very strong in Moosic and the Lower Valley as well. It's going to be, where is McGloin? The rest of the county, where is Jerry Notarianni with respect to the rest of the county? That'll be interesting. Archibald, Jessup area, I would think Archibald for sure will be strong for Bill Gaughan. That is typically a fairly Irish section of the county, and I think they'll be big for Gaughan. But Gaughan is in the driver's seat on the Democratic side. Chermak, listen, if you do the job as county commissioner, re-election can happen, right? And I think Chris Chermak's just seeing that. He's done. I think most people on the Republican side would say a pretty good job. He's being rewarded right now by the voters.
Is there something to be read into the fact that Campbell and Chermak are not neck and neck? That Chermak has a significant lead over Campbell, even though they're supposed to be running as a team. Do you read anything into that?
You do. Whether Chris Chermak was a loyal partner there or not is a question mark. I mean, when Mike Washoe and I ran for county commissioner, we were neck and neck, 1 and 2. He was 1, I was 2. When Wansack and I ran, we were neck and neck. When Mariani and I ran in the primary, we were not. And that's just because Jim Wansack was a very, very strong candidate. Mm-hmm. So Jeanette lost some votes on that. But Jeanette and I were very close. We attended every event together. We were on phone calls together, and I was pushing her significantly, but our numbers were different. So it doesn't mean that somebody was cut in a race. It may just mean the voters have a different idea.
You walk into the polling place, and a lot of people vote for the name they recognize.
That's
they recognize you, the incumbent. They recognize Jim Wansack, the state representative whose father was a state representative. They don't recognize Mariani from Blakely.
That's right.
We have to take a quick break, but before we do, if you're Jerry Notarianni, how are you feeling right now?
You're not feeling great.
Because you're the incumbent. We're at 52%. I mean,
they know more than we do. There's more votes in, and Notarianni knows more than we do at this exact moment. So he has a better idea of where he stands right now than we do.
I can tell you early on from a polling standpoint, Jerry Natariani, before this race really kicked off, he was in good shape. But I think that may have been the cap with respect to him. And now it's all about the new fresh faces and big idea. Folks, it's tough to be an incumbent, and especially an incumbent of one. That's a difficult thing. You're taking on everything from the past. And now you have to also try to, project to the future. And he's been there. And you have vibrant people. So the contrast is stark. And I think you're seeing that tonight in the numbers.
All right.
The music tells us we must take a break.
We'll be right
9:29, half hour left in our election night special before we get to the 10 o'clock news. Stick around. It's getting good here on The Deuce.
At Long John Silver's, our 100% white meat chicken is always just a batter dip away from becoming its own golden treasure. Batter up! Dive into our $6 chicken basket or order ahead at longjohnsilvers.com. Fish yeah!
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Oh, how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
In the late 1700s, William Montgomery settled along the Susquehanna River. His son Daniel soon followed, and Danville was born. Built on iron, the first iron T-rail was made here. This community is proud of its heritage, while also forging a future. Danville Middle School now stands where that first rail was made, keeping the Iron Men tradition alive. Newswatch 16 is proud to serve Danville and all of northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
500 product tests and counting. You request it, and Kurt Aaron tests it. Does it really work? Thursdays on Newswatch 16 at 7 on WNEP.
Welcome back to WNEP2 live exclusive election night coverage. Scott Schaefer, Lisa Washington, Corey O'Brien, Stacey Lang. We have you covered. We have crews out in the field. We're starting to have some races be called, so we already know the winner in the 108th District Special Election, Michael Stender. We have a winner in a statewide judicial race, and Stacey Lang's at the big board with that.
Yeah, Scott, you wanted some winners, and we have another one. On the Democratic side for Supreme Court. Now, Supreme Court, we didn't discuss this earlier. There is one seat open because the death of the previous Chief Justice Max Baer passed away just in November of 2022. So this is to fill his seat. On the Democratic side, we have a winner, Daniel McCaffrey. He was leading all night long. He has 58.6% of the vote. He hails from the Philadelphia area, and that area, as well as ours, the eastern part of our viewing area, came out strong for McCaffrey over Debbie Kunzelman, who's from Beaver County. On the Republican side, these two have not changed spots all night long. Carolyn Carluccio is still in the lead. She is the Philly candidate. We've been saying all night that this is a Philly-Pittsburgh race in all of these judicial races, and she has been leading over Patricia McCullough all night long. There's 8,000 votes separating them, with only a quarter of the precincts reporting throughout the state. So this could still change on the Republican side. But again, we have that winner on the Democratic ticket. Daniel McCaffrey will be on the ballot for November for Supreme Court. Guys?
Stacey, thanks. Just as an outsider looking in, it would seem to me that on the Supreme Court side that Carluccio would be a much stronger general election candidate than McCullough. Carluccio has the slight lead right now, but you see McCullough doing well in some of the redder parts of the Keystone State.
Yeah, McCaffrey's going to be tough to beat.
Yeah,
I mean,
no doubt
let's
about
call
that.
a spade a spade.
Yeah. But I mean, there's going to be money poured into this race. The Republicans want to get back some traction on the state Supreme Court, and they feel like they've been kind of left behind here over the last couple of years. And we talked about that one year about 4 or 8 years ago, where I was just saying the Republicans aren't even trying, and they lost the Supreme Court, and they haven't gotten it back since. And now they're kind of making a kind of a belated effort to recapture some of the situation in Harrisburg there.
I was surprised at the time when we spoke about that, and it probably was about 4 or 5 years ago where there was this shift, and Democrats really started taking the court and those elections, district attorney offices and court elections very, very seriously, and they've really captured a significant number. That used to be Republican territory. The Republicans cared about the judiciary, they cared about district attorneys' offices, and it's really, we've seen a sea change. These positions matter. Your district attorney
This
matters.
is the highest court in the Commonwealth.
Courts matter. You know, legislative bodies will legislate, executives will do the executive work, but the courts at the end of the day, when one of those two branches goes a little bit awry, they come in critical cases. And so they really have a huge impact on everyone's day-to-day lives. Republicans always knew that. They got away from that. We'll see if they're starting to come back to that. But right now, Democrats really have a terrific infrastructure with judicial candidates. They've been churning them out.
And just look no further than the state's congressional delegation. I mean, before, when the Republicans had, arguably gerrymandered districts, Republicans had about a 13-5 advantage in this very purple state. The state Supreme Court stepped in relation to a lawsuit that was filed, drew up congressional districts that seemed to be, to the naked eye, much more fair, much, not crazy, the goofy kicking Donald down there in suburban Philadelphia was ridiculous. So now that's one of the outcomes of the situation on the state Supreme Court. You elected a different court came in and issued this ruling, and now we have these different districts, and we have about I think a 9-8 Democrats to Republicans, or Republicans to Democrats, 9-8 either way, but it's a one seat difference either way in a state that's pretty evenly split.
And this is what those courts decide, so something. We need to get to a question that is on the ballot. Do we have that result to share with you? This is coming from Springville Township up in Susquehanna County, correct? And this was the question on the ballot about if they should allow a liquor license there. Some people like their alcohol, and it looks like the answer is yes. 64% here to 36%.
We'll give you a little bit of the inside baseball. We tried to go up to Springville Township last night to try to find out the details on this. We got 143 votes is all it takes to get an okay for a liquor in Springville Township. But yeah, really no one was talking about it. So we don't really have a feel for who is looking for this license. Who is? It's usually when a township that is dry has one of these referendums, it's usually because there is a developer sitting there who says, I want to build this and I want to put this on.
Like a hotel or something with a bar or something that would serve alcohol.
Yeah. So
hopefully we'll find out.
I'm sure we're going to find out soon, because it looks like that's going to pass in Springville Township. How about Rome? The borough in Bradford County wants to do the unthinkable and change a council from 5 members, where it currently stands, to just 3 members. And
wow, 6!
Look at those votes. That's 83.
I don't think I've ever seen it that low.
I can't imagine anyone overcoming that deficit. I don't know.
This is 100% reporting.
100% reporting.
My goodness
5
gracious.
yes, 1 no.
All 5 council members wanted to eliminate 2 of themselves.
Well, they're going down
this is good.
They're going down to 3. They're almost going down to 3 voters. We
need to screenshot this.
That is just
have
great.
This a part of every
100%
election.
is
100% reporting.
5-1 on this ballot question in Rome.
Now, has the AP called this one?
Why does a municipality want to?
Why do you want fewer? Yeah, that's a good question.
Well, look at Luzerne County. More doesn't work. Okay, we're not going to have that conversation probably tonight, but we should relook at that government structure, because that's a disaster. But I don't know. I think 2 people want to retire. You have 6 total votes. 5 of them are on council.
Yeah.
Right.
So 2 of them don't want to do this any longer.
Okay.
Right?
All right, you talked about it.
Yeah.
We have numbers for Luzerne County Council. We haven't talked about it much because it is so hard to really figure out, but there are how many seats on Luzerne County Council now?
I think 11. Yeah,
Here
11,
we go.
I believe.
On the Democratic side, there's your candidates.
These are pretty close. And this is what, 38% reporting?
The whole idea in Luzerne County was we're going to take the politics out of it, and we're not going to have, Makowski and Pisano and von der Heide and Skrepnak. We're not going to have these two teams anymore. We're going to take the politics out and have this huge board of council people.
But 11 is a lot.
They really, they have taken the politics out of it because we don't talk about it at all. And I know nothing personal, Damon Saxon, but we haven't mentioned your name once. Now, here's some familiar names that we've seen over the years in Luzerne County. Steve Urban, of course, Harry Haas. These guys have been around for a little while on the Republican side. And Republicans have done very well in Luzerne County, and I'm sure will continue to do so in the 2023 election. If there's a surprise in all of this, I don't know it.
Down at 8% there. We see Matthew Mitchell. Well, but it's just so many candidates. And unfortunately, when we think of Luzerne County, we're still talking about paper.
Yeah. How do you walk into this? How do you walk into the ballot box and see, all these candidates for county council and know who to vote for?
Well, here's the problem. There's no accountability in the government. We talk about paper. This is the second election in a row where they just can't deliver enough paper. Who do you blame for that? Who's accountable? Where does the buck stop? The buck stops with 11 people or a manager who you can hire or fire at will? Where does the buck stop? We've seen Aaron Harvey is the 4th director of elections in Luzerne County since 2019. In 4 years, they've had 4 people. There's zero accountability in the county, and the buck stops nowhere. You don't talk about them because you have no idea who to talk to. Who's in charge? Nobody's in charge. So when you have 11 council members, you have 20 so people running, they're all trying to get the votes in their local little hometown and their street and their neighborhood, and then they win. They get there, they think they're going to make change, they're going to do good things, but there's 10 other people serving with them.
Right.
So there is a lack of accountability. There's a lack of transparency in government. This has been a disaster, and we see it again tonight. Who do we call to complain to about a lack of paper? Yeah. Aaron Harvey, who's been in the job for 2 months? Who? The county manager who could be hired or fired any day? Who on council? Do we have to go and talk to 6 people? Get them in a room to chat? They can't even do that because it's a violation of open meetings, right? So I don't even know how the county functions or works. Clearly doesn't function very well. And somebody has to re-look at this. It seemed like a great idea. It was really a political push and thought of some change, but this has not worked out.
There has been certainly some whispers about taking another look at it. Hasn't happened yet, but who's, the 11 council members are going to vote to basically eliminate their jobs.
They're going to talk to Rome.
Yeah. We need those 6 voters in Rome to come down to Luzerne County. We talked earlier tonight about the 2 judicial races in Schuylkill County. It's 14 and 15, and we do have some numbers in, and it is breaking pretty much the way we thought. We'll start with the Democratic side, where the incumbent district attorney, Mr. Opaque, is thought to be the stronger candidate on the Democratic side, and that is coming out just the way we expected it would. Only about 22% of the votes counted so far in Schuylkill County, but an early and relatively significant lead for DA Michael Opaque.
And this is his 2nd term as the Schuylkill County District Attorney.
It is, and now we look on the Republican side, we see a different story. Now, Burke is an attorney in private practice, but he's the guy that State Senator David Argall recommended be appointed to fill the judicial seat after Judge Baldwin retired. We're still looking at the Democratic side. I can tell you Burke is winning on the Republican side. Courtney Harrison is live for us tonight with the Lackawanna County Commissioners. That's another race that has been very interesting so far and kind of neck and neck for that 2nd nomination. Courtney, what can you tell us?
We're going to get to her momentarily. I believe she is with Bill Gaughan, who we've talked about a lot this evening.
Here we go.
There you go, Courtney.
Well, we're still waiting on Bill. He should be here in the next few minutes. We were trying to keep tabs on when he'll be here. But the party here is in full swing at Colarusso's La Palazzo in Music at the campaign party of Bill Gaughan. The former Scranton City Councilman is up against 4 other Democratic candidates. The incumbent Commissioner Jerry Dotariani, former West Scranton grad and Penn State quarterback Matt McGloin, Philip Robson, and Michael Fedorka. Now, the spirits here in Music are very high, and as we see more precincts reporting, so that's It seems to be like they're going in a good direction. It sounds like they're maybe getting some good news here. We haven't gotten that just yet. Hopefully we'll have that in the next half hour, but we'll keep you updated as the night goes on. For now, Courtney Harrison, Newswatch 16, reporting live in Lackawanna County.
You know, thank you, Courtney. We were talking about this earlier in our newsroom when you were covering this and you're out, and Stacey, we can get you in on this as well. It's a lively crowd there, right? We don't know the outcome yet. We don't know. We know that Bill Gaughan is leading right now, but you can hear it's just a lively crowd. And you know the times when you're with that candidate and it's not as loud there, and you're,
yes,
you know,
or
they're home on the couch.
Yeah, or they're home. So
when you're standing there whispering.
Exactly. For your life shot, you're whispering
it's
because
a subdued mood here at XYZ candidates party.
Always love to be that reporter.
Yeah.
And having covered many of those parties, Corey knows this too. I don't know if they're watching WNEP2 or where they're getting their information, but there is a pocket of people who, and they're always the same people, who will move into the party, and that's how you start to know things are shifting. When you start to see these certain faces that pop up at these parties, and it gets a little more lively.
Stacey, it's a great point. We always had a war room, right? And our war room was off the main party floor, and the core people on our team were there. We're monitoring election results. Once some of those people start leaving that room and heading into the party, you know it's party time. The one thing that I would say on how strategic these candidates are, think about where Bill Gaughan is tonight. He's in Music. Where's the second largest voting precinct in Lackawanna County? The Greenwood Fire Company. Where's it located? About a half a block. About a half a block from the place where Bill Gaughan is tonight. It's sending a signal. Where's Matt McGloin tonight?
Dunmore.
He's in Dunmore. Where's the Dunmore Community Center? About 2 blocks away. And guess what? That is the largest one.
We have to get to the Republicans. Chris Schermack, the incumbent commissioner in Lackawanna County, speaking right now. Our Emily Kress is at the State Street Grill in Clark Summit.
We win in November, so thank you. So tomorrow we're going to take a couple hours off, and then we're going to start right back up again. So Diana doesn't think so, but maybe tomorrow afternoon instead. But we're going to get right back at it. So enjoy tonight. Thank you very much. And we're going to hit it hard, and we're going to work right through November. So thank you.
Looks like we have our nominees on the Republican side for Lackawanna County Commissioner, the incumbent Minority Commissioner Chris Schermack, and his chosen running mate, Mayfield Borough Council President Diana Campbell. So it'll be Schermack and Campbell. They will be the Republicans in November. Let's take a look at race 204. That's the Democrats in Lackawanna County. This one still real close. Looks like Gaughan is going to be your top vote getter on the Democratic side, but then it's a horse race for that second nomination. McGloin's lead is now a little more than 1,000 votes over Notarianni.
And it was 700 not that long ago, so that seems to be getting larger.
What Corey said, where are the votes coming from? Now, you think of the early votes have already come from Scranton. Who fares better out in the outer lying areas if that is the case? Are we talking McGloin or Notarianni?
McGloin and Gaughan. I think Jerry Notarianni is capped. I think he's capped in that Scranton area. I think if you look at Abington, you look at Up Valley, you look at a place like Carbondale where they have a mayoral race tonight, you look at some of those places, Dunmore, Music, Lower Valley, I think that's Gaughan McGloin territory. So I think Jerry Notarianni has a difficult time to overcome this margin at this point because I think he's well outside of Scranton now, and that doesn't bode well for him. He may do okay in the Clark Summit area, but I'm not so sure. I think Jerry Notarianni is going to have a long night.
And this would have been Notarianni's third term, so he's already served for 2 terms. That's something to think about. People,
people look for fresh, you know, and Matt McGloin and Bill Gaughan ran these campaigns on that idea.
He was the biggest vote getter in, I believe, every race he's run for commissioner over the last couple of years. I don't know if he maybe ran a race years ago that I don't know about, but he's been the top voter, and it was hard to imagine that he wouldn't be again, but he's not going to be.
You have different candidates in this race. You can feel the energy, a renewed life. You have these younger candidates who are running throughout our whole viewing area. There's something in the air here. Change, I think, is in the air, and it's coming to northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
Well, might be seeing it tonight. Might be seeing it as we speak.
Well, we're going to take a break right now, and we will be right back with more of Your Voice, Your Vote 2023. Stay with us.
You got me.
Tag.
You're it. Imagine a world with no drama. With 4imprint, you don't have to chase down the perfect promotional products. Exclusive apparel, bags, drinkware, and more. 4imprint will help you capture the moment and guarantee to deliver your order on time and on budget. Take the drama out of ordering promotional products at 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
We need some help.
I know. I'm going to cashnetusa.com. And if approved, we can have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
Go to cashnetusa.com to apply for the money you need.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Oh, how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
WNEP Plus is now on Roku, Fire TV, and more. Stream Newswatch 16 live. Watch news, weather, and your favorite features anytime on demand. Plus Pennsylvania Outdoor Live and Home and Backyard. WNEP Plus. Stream now on Roku, Fire TV.
About 10 minutes left in our live exclusive election night coverage here on WNEP2, but don't go away because we go right into Newswatch 16 at 10 where our coverage will continue. A couple more winners to be determined tonight, but we're getting close here at 10 to 10.
Let's revisit this Carbondale mayor's race. We talked earlier about the two women running there, Michelle Bannon, who is the current Carbondale city clerk, and Maria Lawler, who owns a business there. And so these are some updated numbers. This is 90% reporting, is that correct? Yep, 90%. And we see Michelle Bannon still leading substantially, 67% to 33%. We talked about this for a while. Michelle Bannon has been there. I think you said she's dedicated her life to public service, Corey. Again, the clerk, she's taking a leave of absence while she campaigns for this. This isn't a surprise.
Nobody cares more about their city than Michelle Bannon in that city of Carbondale, and the people of Carbondale know it. They're rewarding her tonight because she deserves it. She's worked very, very hard, not only in this race, but in all of her time. I mean, she's been around for a long time, and she's really dedicated herself. It's easy to be an outsider. It's easy to be a naysayer. It's easy to throw, mud and things like that. But serving every day in the trenches, that's not easy to do, and Michelle's done an excellent job of it.
There is, as a reporter, there is someone in every city hall, borough hall, township hall in northeastern central Pennsylvania who is the person who knows what's going on.
Right.
And in Carbondale, Michelle Bannon is that person.
She's that person.
Stacey would, I don't think you could disagree with that.
If there's something going on in Carbondale, you have two cell phone numbers. It's Justin Taylor, Michelle Bannon. They always know what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you'll find no greater cheerleader for Carbondale than Michelle Bannon.
Yeah,
so like you said, she's being rewarded. Schuylkill County,
Schuylkill County. We talked about Schuylkill County earlier, and it's a real fascinating situation. There are 8 Republicans on the ballot for 2 nominations for commissioner this evening, both incumbents, Baron Hetherington and George Halkovich. Halkovich, however, who you don't even see on this list of the top 4, and that's for a reason. Halkovich is facing some serious allegations about some wrongdoing and harassment of
sexual harassment
of other county employees and just some other women around. So here you see, there's Halkovich. He's right now 5th, 6th, and not really contending at all. So George Halkovich's days as an elected official look like will be coming to an end at the end of this year. But at the top, maybe we can go back to the top, and you can see Hetherington, who he's an incumbent, but an appointed incumbent, appointed after the death of Frank Staudenmeier, who died really shortly after being reelected 4 years ago. So Hetherington owns a farm in the Ringtown area, and keep an eye on Larry Pedora, the president of New Ringgold Borough Council. as a top vote getter so far in this Republican race. And that Mary Jo Moss is also within shouting distance. She is the chairwoman of the Schuylkill County Zoning Hearing Board. So those three right now, barring Maria Casey, who we already talked about, the Schuylkill County Clerk of Courts, barring her making some kind of real sharp increase now, it looks like Pedora and Hetherington are in good shape. Mary Jo Moss, really the only other one who might have a shot at overtaking them, but it would be getting late for her too, down by a couple hundred votes at this point, with about 39% still to come in. So obviously, if we're into Moss's strong region geographically, she can make that up. But Pedora and Hetherington right now are your Republican nominees, and George Halkovich.
He had 3 terms.
I thought he might have a shot. Heck, just a couple years ago, George Halkovich ran for Congress. He was a man we thought could really be on the come, but then things went a different direction for him.
You know what I love to see? Confidence in the electorate. Every once in a while, there's a race where you just have a renewed confidence in people and in their decision-making ability in a ballot box. And I think that's what we have in this race.
Right.
Clearly, he's not the individual who should be serving. The people know that, and they're sending him packing tonight. And that's an important thing for our area. I think when you look at elected officials, sometimes as an elected official or a politician, you're not so sure if the electorate's going to really understand, if the people are really going to get it. You do your best to try to make sure that they have all the information that they need. But time and time again, I'm more reassured that the people just get it right.
When you're talking about sexual harassment in 2023, anytime, that says something, right? And no one is above the law, and no one should be given slaps on the wrists or any favors for things like that.
And I wonder if we'll see, now that this election is, for all intents and purposes, over for Mr. Halkovich, I wonder if we'll start to see some kind of just settlement, something to put this whole thing behind him. I don't know that it's a criminal situation, but something to just kind of make it go away.
Right.
We shall see. 5 minutes left before 10 o'clock tonight. Again, Newswatch 16 at 10 will be coming on right here on WNEP2 at 10 o'clock as scheduled. Our election night coverage will continue right through the 10 o'clock news and then on into 11 o'clock on WNEP. So we're really just kind of wrapping up. Corey O'Brien, any final thoughts tonight?
Yeah, I think this Lackawanna County Commissioner's race has been amazing to watch. Chris Schermack, just give him a lot of accolades here tonight with respect to being able to get his running mate, really an unknown, over the finish line. Oftentimes in politics, you can't do that. So you have to look at Chris Schermack as the real deal here and somebody to contend with. I think he and his running mate will have a very difficult time in the fall. I think you're going to see Gone McGloin. That's a tough team to beat. The Democrats have a 70% majority in Lackawanna County. I think that's going to be tough to overcome, especially with 2 fresh faces. I think they're going to be our winners tonight. That's a big deal in Lackawanna County. But I think the winners here are the voters. The winners here are these younger candidates, the people who have decided to take that step. Being in politics, being in government, it's a noble and worthy profession. And I'm proud to say that maybe we're starting to get back to that. We're starting to see people with a renewed interest. That's good for all of us. It's good for government. It's good for our communities. It's good for our federal government over time as these younger candidates work their way through and aspire to higher office. So I think maybe we've turned a corner. I feel like the last several years have been, negative. And people have not wanted to be in politics. And now there's a renewed energy and hope. And I think it's a great thing for our country. I think it's a great thing for northeastern and central Pennsylvania.
We've only got a few seconds. I just think hopefully that encourages people to get out and vote for all of the elections.
Morning in America. I've heard that somewhere else before. Corey, thank you. Lisa, thank you. Stacy, fabulous stuff. Stay with us because we'll be right back for Newswatch 16 at 10 here on WNEP2.
We need some help.
I know. I'm going to cashnetUSA.com. And if approved, we can have the money in our account as soon as the same business day.
Go to cashnetUSA.com to apply for the money you need.
My baby's back from the West Coast.
Here are those pictures that you asked for your school project? First day of school, cute as a button.
So long ago.
Oh, here's Grandma Florence after that flood wiped out the whole neighborhood.
Sometimes I just cannot believe all the storms we've gone through here.
I can only hope that we'll be able to leave this house to you one day, baby. You're our legacy.
Planning for these disasters will make sure we're safe, and is the best way to protect that legacy.
Those beans smell heavenly.
Give Mom a little
You
credit.
know what? We should make an emergency communication plan. That way we're ready this year.
Oh, thank
Great
you.
idea.
At my dorm, we have emergency kits for earthquakes and wildfires, but I'm sure there's something more local I can send you with the link.
Okay.
Smart.
I'm coming to share with you guys.
Protect your legacy. Plan for natural disasters today. Visit ready.gov/plan.
Everybody get hype for Mr. Curiosity. Get up close and personal with Nate Lee, owner of Forget About It restaurant in Hazleton.
There's always haters. Why are there always haters, Joe?
I don't know. I have tons of them.
Then Joe digs up dirt on Dick Yingling with his daughters, Jennifer and Wendy Yingling.
Does he do regular guy stuff like around the house? Will he weed whack?
I've never seen that.
Oh, we got it. We got it.
Available wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl. It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kids should know.
Lisa Washington and Scott Schaefer. Weeknights at 10 on Newswatch 16 on